Good morning, Smith Shoes. Mike Stevenson, good morning. I hope you both had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me this morning. And an interesting week in the world, hasn't it? Faithful one, good morning. Kelly P, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Molly, good morning. Well, how are you feeling? I'm so happy Josh Duggar was found guilty. Same with Jesse Smollett. Yeah. Um, I feel sorry for Jesse Smollett though. I mean, he made his own damn, issues there. I, I don't know why he wouldn't have taken the plea agreement that they offered him the first time. He could have avoided the entire thing, but to each their own. Salutations from Brittany. Good morning, Brittany. Mike Stevenson's. I didn't get recognized. I didn't recognize you without a tie. Oh, I don't have one handy either. I'll throw one on. Debbie Gilligan. Good morning. Hope you had a good week. I did, for the most part, Debbie. Thank you. For the most part. Uh, so I had a couple of doctor's appointments. I had my stitches removed on Thursday. Thursday, I got all the stitches removed. Um, and then Friday, I had my first physical therapy appointment. It wasn't really much. It was basically going over an outline of what they plan on doing over the course of the next couple of months. But I got to go through that. So at least I'm starting down that road. But Josh Duggar, I don't know. I watched most of the case and streamed it, and it was interesting, and it was very informative to watch the DA, the federal prosecutor, actually work in that case. And everything that he did, and outlined everything he was going to plan to do. It was like it was just seamless. When they put that minute by minute timeline up of Josh for the jury to actually look at, there was no way he was going to be able to convince them that there was somebody else accessing his computer and downloading that stuff when he was the only one there. The text messages to his wife put him there. Then he was there downloading it, then accessing his own personal bank account, then downloading more, and then accessing an additional account that only he had access to that had a brand new password, and sign-in information. He was dead. He was a goner right then and there, and you could see it. That his defense in himself, it was like somebody just sucked the life right out of him. His family just sat there, blank stare on their face. Debbie Gilligan, good morning. Well, hope you had a good week. I did. I already answered that one. But you know, the federal government doesn't mess around when they prosecute any case at all. They have a very high success rate, 97% plus percentage of convictions when it comes to cases like Josh Duggar's. When it comes to child pornography or other sex crimes, a 97% success rate. They don't mess around at all. They cross their T's and dot their I's on everything, everything. But so how is everybody else doing? Hope everybody had a great week. Lavona, Lavone. It's great to see you. Good. How many years in prison do you think he'll get? If I had to guess on Josh Duggar, 35, I think they're going to give him the maximum, the 20 years on the possession of child pornography, and then they're going to give him somewhere around 15 years on the. So the two charges are possession and then receiving. And I think they're going to give him the max on the possession and 15 on the receiving, so 35 years. I mean, they could throw the book at him and give him the entire 40 years, but it's going to be several months before we actually get to that portion of it where they do the sentencing. In the meantime, he's remanded without bail. There's no bail on federal charges like that at all, so he ain't going anywhere. So I wanted to thank a couple people. Sorry, I itched. But I wanted to thank a couple people who had sent packages and gifts in this past week. Inner Peas had sent me a. It's kind of like a drink mix thing that has. It's supposed to help with a myriad of different things, like boost your immunity and also with pain relief. She sent that to me. I got that yesterday in the mail. And then this one actually came from Amazon. It was actually this was from Sarah Pendleton. She's actually got her own YouTube channel, but she clearly says here in the note, don't use her name, her channel name. But the gift receipt says, "Will, thank you for being a shining star in the dark. Please don't use my channel name." That's what it says. Merry Christmas. Hope this fits. It's a try before you buy. So let me know as soon as possible if it does or doesn't. So, what is it? It's a shirt. Now this is not appearing on there as well as it should, but it's a red shirt. I don't want to drop the rest just because I'm going to put it back in there. I already tried it on, but it's a Western style snap shirt, and it does fit. And I thank you very much, Sarah, for that. It doesn't say when she actually purchased it. It just shows that the date that it was actually shipped on the Amazon slip. But that was really nice of her to do that. I appreciate it very much. And to Inner Peas as well for the drink mix. I think the offenders should all get life because the victims do. Isn't 40 years a little severe for possession of pornography? Yeah, Mike, but it's not normal pornography. It's child pornography. These are children as young as 3 years of age who are being abused on video. And that was the kind of content that he had downloaded. Most of the content, from what I understand from Homeland Security, was the ages between 7 and 11 years of age, right in there, was the age group of most of it. But in some of the videos, was the youngest victim was 3 years of age. Now, the person actually abusing that child and videotaping it is one thing, and they're abusing the child physically. But by Josh Duggar actually possessing, owning, that content, he's victimizing that child just as much. So 40 years, they're sending a statement to people: don't do it. Just don't do it. It's disgusting. That it's not so again, but it's not just normal pornography. The makers of the porn should be prosecuted. And whenever they catch them, Josh, Mike, whenever they catch them, they definitely prosecute them. The problem with most of the time when they catch people who have actually physically and done this, and along with Josh Duggar, is the prosecution of people in cases like this that are familiar, that are similar. There's a high instance of suicide. They know that their life is over with, so but they do it. Good morning, Gayla. Good day, Mr. Finley and everyone. Hope your knee is feeling better. It is, Gayla. It is. It's going to be a long process, but it's getting there. Slowly but surely, I'm getting there. Makers of the porn should be prosecuted. Again, to the prosecution of them. That's one of the hardest things. It's like even the youngest victim in that video that he owned, he had possession of, that he watched and consumed and downloaded. That 3-year-old little girl is still not identified, and it's kind of hard to tell where these videos come from. They could be anywhere in the world, but they try. They try to intercept them as they actually download it to and to these torrent files. They try to backtrack them as much as they can to a location where they're uploaded. I mean, it's not like going to YouTube where you see a bunch of videos and you click on them and you can watch them. Most of them are it's just a file name and then a little brief description of what the content are in it. Now that's going by what the Homeland Security, actually, how they describe the actual files itself. Ollie Berry, good morning. Mario, and we'll hope you and the community are well. We are, Mario, thank you. Catherine P. Hi, Will. It's 2 a.m. in Australia and I can't sleep. I'm glad you're here so I can listen to you. I love your channel so much. Love to you and your family. Oh, thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The government should spend resources going after the makers of the porn. They do, Mike. There are quite a few. I don't know the exact number, but there are people that's all they do within the Homeland Security, Department of Justice, the FBI, and that's all they do is they track this stuff and try to find the actual producers of the actual event, try to find the victims, try to rescue the victims. But it's hard. It's not like they're putting a landmark out there like, hey, here's one video. We're in downtown Austin, Texas, and the next minute they're abusing a child. These videos are in the nondescript rooms, and for the most part, there's no windows, and if there are windows, they're covered over, so you can't see outside for a landmark. But it's extraordinarily hard. And with the proliferation of the internet, it's made these things even more available to people like the Josh Duggars of the world. They can get on there and they can not only download and consume and watch and trade these things. And there is evidence that that did come out in the trial that Josh Duggar may very well have downloaded some of this and traded it actually to people individually in person. They're not able to prove that, so it was not really a highlight of the actual trial itself. But there is a chance that it happened. These people get together. There are complete societies of people who are like Josh, where I can't remember. It's like Mambla or something like that. Man loving children or something like that. They have some stupid acronym for an actual society of people who gather and get together every year and meet and talk about how they love underage children. It's sick as hell, But until you can actually convict them of an actual crime, they're allowed to do it, and they will do everything they can to push it right to the line, and then make the feds come after them. When it comes to child pornography cases, seldom is it prosecuted at a state level unless it's just an individual with a one party versus a child that they have custody over. It's because it's prosecuted at that level. But if the child is nowhere near that family home and they can prove that the pornography or the abuse or something came across state lines, excuse me, it falls to the federal jurisdiction then. Good morning, Mary. Francie. Never knew there was such a thing as child porn. Yeah, it's some sick, depraved shit, Mike. Sick, depraved stuff. Hey, Will, how are you and the family? I can't chat. I can't stay too close to home. Well, I'm sorry, Mary. Well, we're doing good, Mary. I'm getting better, slowly but surely. CR. It would be fun to watch Josh, what Josh is eating in jail. Yeah, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, CR. When it comes to the federal penitentiary system, there is very little that people talk about what actually goes on inside of a federal penitentiary. The best I could hope for in that situation to be able to do something like that, a video about what is Josh Duggar eating. I would have to find somebody who actually served time in the actual federal penitentiary where he's going. Where is he going? Is he even going to a federal prison? I pointed this out in the other video. There is no federal prison in the state of Arkansas that deals with child sexual predators or those who have been convicted of sex crimes. There is not a prison in Arkansas that actually houses them. Now, they could send him to either Oklahoma or to Texas. Both of those have have federal prisons that house sex offenders and child molesters and those who have been convicted of crimes against children, like child pornography. When it comes to the option to keep him in state, they would send him to a state prison. It would have to be something either level 2 or level 3 prison, or a mixed level, has a higher security level, that has a housing unit that deals with child predators, rape, and stuff like that. A housing unit. He'll never be put in the general population. So, I know I've seen it a couple of dozen times already in all the videos that I've done. That people have said, well, just put them in general population, they'll take care of them. Well, of course they will. That the worst of the worst, when it comes to prison inmates, if you ever commit a crime, or somebody ever commits a crime against a child, they are the bottom of the bottom when it comes to inmates in prison system. Every inmate wants to get a hold of those suckers, beat them up, kill them, do whatever they can. So they know by putting them anywhere near general population, it'd be a death sentence. And as weird as it sounds, the federal government and the states itself, the prison system, they have to try to offer some level of security for each and every inmate. Doesn't matter what the inmate's in for. They can't allow them just to feast upon each other. Lisa Irwin, good morning. Mel Mal. Oh, Mel Mal. I so miss your content. Mel Mal. Miss you, sweetheart. Rekar, thank you. Francie, prayers for all the families in Mayfield, Kentucky. Yeah, I heard about the tornadoes that touched down in several states. As a survivor of child abuse, I'm okay with that. LOL. Holly Berry, tornadoes, bad. Yeah, I was reading about it this morning, and about there's one place that was in Kentucky where the warehouse collapsed during night shift. Yeah, it's it's terrible. I've grown up with tornadoes pretty much from birth until I was 17. I was convinced that the trees in my state used to point like an arrow towards my house. That's how many times we dealt with tornadoes. Either tearing, we'd lose outbuildings, barns, or other things. That we never lost our home, but we lost a lot of stuff to tornadoes. We've lost some family members and friends to tornadoes as well. But if you're in the heartland of America, you take precautions. They're coming. You have a storm shelter, and you ain't messing around when it comes to the storm shelter. There's nothing like this. What was the movie Twister, where they just had a wooden doorway. But how don't they have a warning system now? They do for the most part. But at the time that it actually hit, that's the devastating part. Is it hit at night when most people were sleeping, Melville. So even if the warning system was to alert people, you have to be awake to hear it. Francie, tornadoes scare you. The movie freaked you out. Your son lives in Arkansas, right by the one that hit there. My other son is moving there in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, Gayla. Oh, right, car. I'm 290 miles away from Mayfield, Kentucky, and I'm not driving today. Oh, well, it's probably for the best, right, Cart? Stay put in one place. Wait for them to clean up all the debris and everything. If you have to go that direction from the roadway. Be right back. Apparently, I didn't have the screen door latched all the way, so it was flopping in the wind. Woke up this morning to pretty good size, winds here, but nothing compared to a tornado. Tomorrow's supposed to be sunny. Well, that's good. There's a mistrial last week in the Amanda Blackburn murder trial. Was there? I hadn't read about that, Francie. Heartbreaking times we live in. Yeah. It all depends upon how you look at it, Holly. Crime is definitely up across the board. Some major metropolitan areas are seeing, an exorbitant amount of crime that is up across the board in all categories. Whether when it comes to tornadoes and things like that, natural disasters, they come and go. But it's just again when tornadoes season comes, people just know that that it's one of those things that's inevitably either going to get you or it's not. You just have to be prepared for it. Doesn't matter what you have or where you are. Always at the mercy of Mother Nature. That is true. Gayla Denson. I was in Arkansas 2 days after the tornado hit my son's house. Devastating. The jury found out Amanda Blackburn was pregnant, so the judge declared a mistrial. Damn. Crimes against children are what are getting to you. Yeah. When it comes to Josh Duggar, the part that pisses me off, if you go back through, let me get the file out here before I actually make that. This is all Josh Duggar. The first allegation that Josh Duggar had committed a crime was in July of 2002, 15 years before the actual allegations of, and they never stopped. They just kept on happening along. 2002, a police report with the Springfield Police Department was filed that revealed that Jim Bob had explained that Josh Duggar had told him that he had touched and molested at least one victim who was asleep on the sofa in their home. That was in 2002. That was 19 years ago. 15 years before the child pornography allegations originally popped up. And so, in 2017 is when the first allegations were that he may have possessed child pornography, and it took that long for the case to get to court for 2017 to then they came in and they actually investigated it, and then they seized his computers, and then the thing went to trial, and now we know where Josh Duggar is. But the system has been extraordinarily slow. A lot of people have asked me why Josh Duggar was never actually prosecuted for the molestation of his sisters or the other victims, family friend, babysitter. So it goes back to 2015. There was an officer by the name of Joseph Hutchins who supposedly had a stern talking with Josh Duggar and told him to, he better knock his shit off, with the touching, of his sisters and other girls without their consent. Joseph Hutchins would also be convicted later on of possession of child pornography. That was in 2015. Sketty Nona, good morning. Georges Millis, so creepy that the family keeps breeding. Yeah, right. Thank you for sharing your time and monitoring cement shoes. Cement shoes taking off. Gino, good morning, Gino. There's cement shoes here. Yeah, he was here. I'm sure he's probably just listening right now. But again, so I was going to answer the question about Josh Duggar. Why wasn't he never convicted of molestation of the charges? A judge in that case actually ordered the state of Arkansas State Police and the Springfield Police Department to destroy all the records of the investigation because they had determined that the statute of limitations had run out on convicting him of it. Nobody acted on it in 2002. Nobody acted on it in 2003. No one acted on it in 2005, 2007, 2009, when the allegations were made that Josh Duggar was doing what he was, molesting underage girls, sisters and family friends and a babysitter. Nobody acted on it. So from that time on, the clock started, and it kept on going until the statute of limitations ran out, basically, for the crime in the state of Arkansas. They couldn't go back and prove, and they could prove that he did it during these dates, but the statute of limitations ran out. So a judge actually ordered the entire file on Josh Duggar, all the evidence, everything that they had, scrubbed the computer systems because, and this is an actual quote from the actual judge, the only people who would be interested in watching a conviction of Josh Duggar would be his father's political opponents. End quote. That was the only reason why they decided we need to destroy all this instead of just leave it in the background and never going forward with it, to actually have it all destroyed. Because she saw it as a possibility of his political opponents using it against him. Now, he has run for Senate once and failed, and he's currently seeking for the vacant Senate seat again. Jim Bob has political ambitions, and she was point blank in saying that whoever finds this information is going to use it just to try to to destroy him, the father, and how selective of a memory he has. You don't think that you guys have limitations in New Zealand? Debbie, can testosterone be removed from a man's body? Create a new mindset? Big deal. They will never obtain lust again, but would help many people from abuse and being the abuser. Just thought. Good morning, Debbie, and welcome to the stream. Let's see. Can testosterone be removed from a man's body? I do not know the answer to that. That's a medical question. It's far outside of my scope of it. If they could do it, would it stop them from obtaining lust? Lust is a mental, desire issue. If you remove the testosterone, all it's going to do is just remove the testosterone. You could add estrogen, which would, I guess would probably balance it out. I mean, we use one of the things that they do use in treatment of sexual predators and people who've molested children. We have, not we as in me or anybody, but the government and the state has actually used castration, medical, and like medication castration, and they've also used physical castration. But again, lust is a mental issue. That's something you lust over something. That is a mental thing. It's not a physical, thing. But I can't answer the rest of it. But yeah, definitely. Would it help? Again, it's to me, from everything I've read about abusers, child abusers, and stuff like that. I believe it comes down to a mental thing. They for some reason they just believe it, that they're not really victimizing their victims, that these children are not being abused in any ways, that they actually enjoy. They've convinced themselves of this. I don't know how they did it, but they do it. RRH, good morning. Politics, Josh wasn't charged. No, Josh wasn't charged for the molestation because the statute of limitations ran out. And then years later, it came in front that they brought it in front of the judge. The Jim Bob and his attorney brought it in front of the judge, who said, "Look, yes, the statute of limitations on this case has run out. There's no reason to keep the file anymore. In order for the state police and those cities and police departments who were investigating it to destroy their evidence, anything they gathered. If they had enough evidence, they didn't use it, and they didn't prosecute them. Was it political in nature for why they destroyed it? No, it just happened to work out that way. But that was years after the statute of limitations ran out. It wasn't like it ran out on June 15th and June 17th. His father went into court. and had them destroy the records. It was several years after the statute of limitations ran out. They said, and the judge agreed. Yes, the only people who would be interested in this would be, at this point, would be using it to destroy you in a political arena, and that's the only reason why. And so the judge ordered for it to all to be destroyed. We have 2 children abused murders in their step parents here in the UK. Personally, I don't get how parents can let it happen. No, neither do I. It's any kind of crime that ever happens to a child is I'll never understand that. And my heart goes out to those children and to their loved ones. So politics was more important than all the victims. And again, the statute of limitations ran out, and then Jim Bob and his attorneys went to court and said, "Look, let's just get rid of this and have the file destroyed. The only people that want to use this are those who want to use it against him politically." Let's take away the women's eggs. Haha. How do you explain women predators? I don't. I don't explain how Josh does it either. I don't understand necessarily. It's a mental thing, from what I understand. I don't think there's any physical, disease, that illness that drives these people to do it. The sickness that cannot be fixed. They don't care what anyone says. That's true. Good morning, Connor Kelly. Women's rights. What are those? Don't we all share the same rights? We do. We should. It should be equal rights for all. Yes, Biden says we all have the same rights. None. Will, how is PT? Has it started yet? Francie, I went on Friday. I had my first PT appointment on Friday. I will not have one next week, but the week after, I will have one just before Christmas. So I think it's like the 23rd. I think it's my next one. So, and the reason why I'm not having one next week is the person who it was scheduled to actually be my physical therapist at the through the surgery center, they're going to be gone. So I can't have one then. But I think it's the 23rd, a couple days before Christmas, my next one. CFI Inglewood. Missy, good morning and welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week, Missy. Don't worry, it'll be back up at some point when I'm ready. I hope so, Mel. Starfire, hi, and Shatters. Some bad storms happening here in the Midwest. We are getting strong winds here in Michigan. I'm sorry, Starfire. I think right now it's here where I'm at right now. It is 51 degrees, sunny. It says, but I doubt that. Wind. We're underneath a severe wind advisory. Wind gusts of 36 miles an hour. But I'm sure it's a lot worse there where you are. You guys can probably hear it every once in a while when it gusts. I got that metal windsock thing on the roof. You got to see that little rooster just spinning in the wind. So the prosecutors said that they have 7% of the cases in Arkansas that involve CSM. Some predators are thankful for chemical castration. They say that it's the only way that helps them, and I'm grateful that for any choice to take it, prefer it to be permanent. Mm, wow. I know there's an entire village. I believe it's in Florida where it's all that lives there in that area. These are people who have been convicted of sex crimes, and they can't live anywhere else. So they all live in like one mobile home court together. Just coming by to say happy Saturday. Well, good morning and have a great day, Dawn Marie. I hope you have a great week and a great week ahead. I'm still here. My son lives in northern Arkansas. Said the tornado went through parts of Missouri. Wow. Something really bad. That's the weather for you. We're seeing more and more severe storms all around the world. Believe in it if you want. I don't care what you think actually caused it. We're living through it right now. Man-made weather, the weather changing because of mankind, what we've done, or whatever it is. Will is going to sing Let's Get Physical. Now let's get physical once he gets his PT done in his knee. Yeah, I doubt that, right, Cart? I doubt that. I don't have the voice for Olivia Newton-John. I'm texting my son to see what is up in southern Kansas. Wow. Magician went to the Tropicana in Las Vegas to FCI for the next 20 years for child porn. Really? They catch them all over the world. And unfortunately, like catching the people in the networks that actually download that stuff is the hardest part. PT is extremely important for your surgery to succeed. I've had both my knees replaced, and the PT is everything. Well, I didn't have a complete knee replacement. I had the ACL and the PCL both replaced, and then they cleaned up the meniscus, which was shredded. I got almost no meniscus left at all. But Jordan, yeah, you're right. PT is extremely important. This isn't my first round of knee surgeries. Unfortunately, I've had this. This is probably what now left. I have a three-quarter knee replacement of my left, and now my right. I've gotten ligaments replacement. I've had them both orthoscopically cleaned out in the past. My left knee once, my right knee twice. Man, it sucks getting old. I wonder how many young people suicides are caused by offenders. The kids have to trust someone to tell. It is just horrific the damage done. Oh yeah, yeah, it is. Lisa Irwin, and good morning. In case I forgot to say good morning. Um, and a lot of times, depending upon the age of the victim itself, according to the Department of Homeland Security, and the reports that they filed on this, a lot of children who were abused at a very young age can't make sense of the actual acts that are happening to them. And if it stops, even if it stops 20, 25 years later, it's still affecting them even at 25 years later. But a great portion of those who have been molested or abused in sexually, some way like this, will go on to actually abuse others unless they get therapy and they stop it from a very young age on, and they have positive interaction with therapists, in between at a adolescent age going forward. They have to stop the abuse from ever happening. I don't know if that made a whole lot of sense, but I'm trying to picture it on a timeline. Let's say the child is 3 years of age and they're abused sexually, molested, or and they end up in some kind of child pornography circle. By the time that child is in their adolescent years, if they don't have therapy to stop how they're thinking and to make sense of what happened to them, and to talk them through, and give them the tools to know the right and wrong, they will end up abusing others. Not 100% of the time, but it's a very good chance that they will abuse others. It's 32 degrees in Sacramento. My doggy is squeezed behind me in the recliner to get warm. Oh, DCBA. Every day alive is a good day. That's true. Above ground, having kids or parenting should require a license like driving. Yeah, there's no manual. So the study to be a parent. You just do the best you can, and you know that abusing your children is not one of them. I mean, that's just human nature, though. 100 people died in Mayfield, Kentucky, from the tornadoes. Well, that's tragic. I'm glad I didn't hit Kansas. It hit 60 miles from my son's house in Arkansas. DC, DCBA, wash your hands. Rupal, hello, hello. Welcome, Rupal, and good morning. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. My son says it's nice in Kansas near the Oklahoma border and going to be 75 this week. What? 75? No. Well, where I'm at right now, we'll get lucky if this week if we get up to 60 any day this week at all. The governor of Kentucky declared it a mass casualty. It is 1647 here in the UK. Well, I hope you had a wonderful day then. If your day is just now finishing up, Rupal. How's me lovely Americans doing? I'm doing better, Rupal. Slowly but surely. Um, I got more flexibility in my leg than I did, a week ago. I'm sitting here, with my legs bent right now. Got my stitches out on Thursday. That was a good thing. I had 32 stitches in my knee. 32. I had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 in the front, and the rest of them were in the back of the leg, of the knee area, where they had to go in and remove the PCL. Worst tornado ever in Kentucky. The warm weather in the Midwest is what's colliding with the cold Canadian weather, causing tornadoes. Because usually it's the warm tropical air that's coming up from the Gulf of Mexico this way, and then it comes down this side of the Rockies, and that's what causes it, and it hits there just over land into the Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, and then going up to Iowa, Illinois, and going up there with Wisconsin, Great Lakes area. That whole handle, you can actually look at it on the map, of where the tornado alley is. Good stuff. Music blaring on your end. What are you listening to, Rupel? You listening to the Smiths, or are you listening to something else? Watching Arlene America all week. It's super. Well, that's cool. Yeah, let's all say a prayer for those who lost their lives in these tornadoes, Kentucky and other states that were affected. From what I understand, that there were several states where tornadoes touched down and lives are lost in several states, but definitely there's 100 people. You said in Kentucky lost their life. That's terrible. Before Christmas, everything. Will, are you hosting Christmas dinner like you did for Thanksgiving? Yes and no, Francie. For Thanksgiving, we had a total of 23 people, who total, but it was mainly 21, 19ish right in there that stayed for the entire event. A couple people popped in, got meals to go, and left, said hello. For Christmas, it will probably be about 10 or 11 right in there. All depends on if my nephew can make it, because he has to work that day. He's on call and he's management. So, the chances are highly likely he's going to have to go to work. He is the manager for a large movie house chain. So he's most likely going to have to go to work at some point. But so there'll be 10 or 11 of us here. And if that's for the food and stuff like that, we haven't planned any of it out yet. That's something that we're doing today, actually. Later on, me and my sister, my mother-in-law, my wife, and I will all sit down and we'll plan everything out. A large portion of it will probably come from Costco, because we can, get it in bulk because we need so much of it. And then we'll hit the supermarkets for some of the other shelf staples between now and then. And closer to Christmas, we'll actually get the more perishable items like vegetables and fruits and stuff like that we need. I swear I had a small earthquake in upstate New York yesterday. I was watching it. They had a whole bunch of them in Yellowstone this past week, and geologists were, I guess, kind of freaked out at how close together each and every one of them were. Because don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Yellowstone National Park, where the geysers are, that's on top of a super volcano. I mean, and if that thing ever was to erupt, it would destroy life in a large portion of the United States. The plume of cloud and debris would go right towards, the Midwest. Oh, it'd be catastrophic. But you can watch the movies about it on the Discovery Channel or National Geographic. They've done, all of them have covered it in some aspect. My father confirmed last night that to be last night to be my father was confirmed last night to be in a drug-induced coma, thanks to a second bout with the COVID crap, and body is attacking the organs. Wow, I'm sorry, Sarah. I truly am. Pray for your father. Get my notebook out here so I can write it down so I don't forget. Oh, it's been 10 days. I'm sorry. Our national weather, that the tornado possibility also involved New York area today. Really? Charles Bennett. Good morning, Charles. Good morning from New Hampshire. Well, good morning, Charles. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thought this would end, but this is getting out of hand. Yeah, it is. Sorry that you're going through that though. I've delivered in Richmond, Virginia on Monday, but I will continue driving till tomorrow morning when the tornadoes pass by. Yeah, you stay safe out there, right, Card? You know, I feel sorry for you, especially after you unload. If you have to haul an empty trailer anywhere, and if there's any kind of wind, I've seen those suckers move about in any kind of wind. You got to stay safe out there. That's hard. Thanks, all. I just started talking to him after over 30 years. I'm dreading the call on Monday. I know it's a time limit announcement. I'm in pieces, but I spoke to my dad just now. He's such a soldier. No, I hope for the best, RuPaul. Will, did they ever find the little James body in Ohio? James Hutchinson? No. They've called off all search and rescue efforts to find James Hutchinson's remains. Um, at this point, unless Adventures with Purpose or another nonprofit comes in and tries to actually find James's body, which is hard because when it comes to, you have to understand how sonar works. And when they put the sonar down there, it's scanning and it mainly is looking for hard objects like a car or a boat or a plane or something like that. It's a hard object and it sends and it bounces radar signals off it. A body wrapped up in plastic and weighed down, thrown off a bridge could be, you know, a mile. It could be 2 miles downriver. Nobody knows just how far the current has moved his remains. And if his body went all the way to the bottom, there is a better chance that his body is still intact and it's still wrapped up in the tarp that they wrapped him in the blankets. But there's no telling. But the state has called off all search rescue efforts for James, and there's just nothing else that they can do from their perspective, technology wise. Again, if a group like Adventures with Purpose wants, to give it a shot, they can. They're not going to stop them, but there's nothing that they can do from what their manpower and perspective is. Because the other thing is they're not even entirely sure, if they can believe James's mother, Brittany Gosney, if she is really telling the truth of where they disposed of James's body. She says that they stopped on the bridge, took James out of the back of the van, and threw him over the railing. But nobody saw or reported seeing a van stopped, at any hour of the day on a 4-lane bridge. So if they did it, they had to be really quick about it and then speed off before anybody noticed them. But hey, little Turner, good morning. Good morning, Kevin. I hope you are having a great day, Kevin, and thank you for joining us this morning. The big guy upstairs telling us to straighten up and fly right. 37 watches, 31 thumbs up. Let's keep it going. Hope we get more and we end up with at least 50%. I'm dreading the call. Oh, I'm sure I read that one. How are you doing, Will? Sarah, I'm doing better. Slowly but surely. You I got my stitches removed last Thursday. Had my first physical therapy appointment. We didn't do much. Just kind of went over the schedule of what they want to accomplish while I'm going to physical therapy. Had that on Friday. They ordered my knee brace that I'm going to have to wear. Um, I think she said for 4 to 6 months. I have to wear it during physical therapy as well. Um, but I'm getting better, slowly but surely. It is 5 p.m. in England. Well, Hazel, you and we got quite a few. Rupel is in the UK. So we have Hazel and Rupel from the UK. What time is it in the US? Rupel, depends upon where the person is in the US. We have, four major time zones. I'm on the west coast of the United States. Um, and it is 9 a.m. where I am right now. 9 a.m. Will, can you recommend any true crime documentaries? True crime documentaries. Not off the top of my head. There's a really good one that I've been trying to find again that was done on Ed Kemper. It was done in connection with UC Berkeley and a local television station in San Francisco, but I can't find it anymore. The internet is weird. Some days things are there and then they're just gone like the next. I actually wrote to them, and but they haven't gotten back to me on whatever happened to it. Did they take the documentary down? I don't know. Um, but tell you what I'll do, Francie, is if I think of any, I'll think about it today, and I'll make a community post here on YouTube, and I'll put some links to different documentaries that I can recommend that you can watch. I Rage. Good morning. I watched one on Woody Allen. It's exceptionally disturbing. Good morning, Stacy Payne. How are you doing, sweetheart? RH, it's 11 o'clock in, where are you at? Dakota? South Dakota. 6 p.m. in Spain. Sarah, it's 11:03 in Minnesota. The internet is bipolar. It's here and then it's there. I get that. It's funny. What's up, everybody? Oh, surviving the knee surgery. We've been talking about the tornadoes that have touched down in Kentucky and other states, but we covered Josh Duggar and the case against him. Lisa Irwin, I'm sad but happy. I just kept listening to the story about the cult, Heaven's Gate cult, Heaven's Gate, and David Koresh. There's a movie, I believe it's on Netflix about that, the Heaven's Gate cult. And from everything that I've read about David Koresh and the Heaven's Gate cult, um, nothing ever would have happened, to them at all, and they would have probably just dissipated over time if it wasn't for the federal government, incident ramping up their their case against him and going forward to try to arrest him for the gun charges. If they never would have done that, they probably would have just faded out in history. I spoke to Americans today in the week. It was fantastic, cool, disturbing. The Heaven's Gate cult, yeah. All cults are disturbing, in my opinion. Rupal, I love meeting Americans. Well, for the most part, there's some of us out there in America you don't want to meet, Rupal. There's some really weird ones out there. They were Seventh-day Adventists who were not the Gate cult. They may have followed, or they may have had people who were once Seventh-day Adventists, but the people who followed David Koresh definitely were not Seventh-day Adventists. They may have they may have been Seventh-day Adventists at one point, but the Seventh-day Adventist Church doesn't believe necessarily that David Koresh was a Messiah, and they don't. That's a little bit outside of the norm of their normal teachings, in their church. I'm not trying to defend the church. I'm just saying that for what I know about the Seventh-day Adventists, they were not, 100% Seventh-day Adventists. They may have followed it at one point. They may have had members at one point who were Seventh-day Adventists, but not completely. Jesse Smollett, the gay Tupac, was found guilty of 5 counts out of 6, a staging a hate crime and lying to law enforcement. I probably shouldn't laugh at that. That's funny, Reichart. I know they don't on the side of the cult. There's a movie. I wouldn't call it a documentary. I guess you could call it a documentary. It all depends on how you look at it. It's surviving the a cult. I wouldn't. It's not very well. Let's put it this way. It's done from the perspective of one individual who actually survived a cult, being in a cult. Their parents were in a cult. They were therefore brought into the cult as because they were the minor children of their parents who were in a cult. But this lady survived a cult and then wrote a book or started to write a book about it and then decided to make a movie of it. And it kind of goes back and forth, about the experience, but it and the cinematography for it is dreadful. It kind of looks like something that you would shoot on an 8 millimeter video camera. For anybody that's old enough to remember those, I'm sure there may be one or two of us out there that remember them. But it's interesting though that they her from her perspective of how she survived a cult. I'm a wee bit drunk. Third glass of Piscato. Oh, well, you stay safe, Rupel. Rihanna Evans, good evening. Well, good evening. He should have been reimbursed the cost of the court. Can Trump supporters sue him civilly or something? I don't think they can. For trying to say that it was MAGA bros that actually did it. Um, you can say a lot of things about like hey, this guy was a Biden supporter and he committed this crime. You can't sue Biden for it. You know, but yeah, he should have just reimbursed them for their investigation and taken the plea deal, but he didn't. He thought that he could win this in court. I hear that they're going to appeal. I don't know what their grounds for the appeal is going to be, but I heard that they were going to, in the Jesse Smollett case, he's going to appeal. The Duggars are caring and loving family. They're good people, and Josh was framed. May our Lord cast the person who framed Josh down to hell. That's an interesting take on the actual truth there, Herbert. Well, thank you for expressing that with us. Shall I send a photo of it? My 15 millimeter camera. Some of us actually remember the 15 millimeter, home movies. Could be why you like meeting Americans. Drinking does affect the brain. Yeah. Heads and ate laced applesauce with vodka. The leader was Bo and Peep. Laced applesauce. Am I mixing the two cults up? I think I'm mixing up the Branch Davidians and the Heaven's Gate. Was Heaven's Gate in San Diego? Judah. Hi, Will. How are you? I'm doing better, Judah. Thank you for asking. Slowly but surely, committed suicide, tried to catch. Okay, UFO. Stacy, you're right. That's the Heaven's Gate cult. That was um in San Diego. They all dressed alike, and they took But when you mentioned applesauce, that jarred my memory. Thank you for that, by the way. That was they believed that their mothership was trailing behind Halley's comet, and that they all needed to cross over to the other side for in order to get onto the enlightened level, which is into the actual alien ship. So they'd be taken to a universe where there was no crime, there was no famine, there was no everything that you ever desired was provided for you. There was no disease. All this stuff was promised to them on the other side, on this other planet that the ship was going to come take them to. Applesauce. The applesauce is what reminded me of. That's Heaven's Gate cult. The other one with David Koresh, that's the Branch Davidians. See, there's so many of them out there. After a while, they all kind of like this. They all run together in your head. How do people fall for that? It's a damn good question, Stacy, and I don't think there is one definite answer on how people get wrapped up in cults itself. A lot of people who do, and this is not for everyone, but a lot of people who do get wrapped up in cults, they're seeking answers to maybe they've been disenchanted by mainstream religion. Maybe they're having problems with their own health or their own family, and they feel shunned by society or whatever, and they're looking for answers in generally. And then all of a sudden, it's not like they bring these people in, and they when they indoctrinate you, here's the entire thing. It slowly, it's bit by bit by bit, and as they're doing it, they're slowly breaking the individual down, and then convincing them, or you could say brainwashing them, to remove the judgment of this individual or this charismatic person who is in front of them, who actually believes in something that if you heard it outside of the cult, you'd be like, that guy's nuts. That guy's nuts. I'm not listening or following what that guy says. But if somebody is brought in slowly but surely into the group, and there are a lot of religions, mainstream religions, that start off as labeled as cults that have made the swing to and transition to a religion. There are other ones that remain a cult their entire lives. History of the cult. But it's there is no real one answer how people get wrapped up and persuaded to be in one of these groups. Oh, if there was, I mean, we'd be basically like, okay, here's the answer, and And a lot of these people have to be deprogrammed after they leave these groups if they survive them, because they are convinced that this individual what is the Messiah. They are here and they're given the actual speaking the word of God or whatever it may be. Whatever deity they believe that this person is the reincarnation of, or that person is the deity of. So it's not easy to get people out of cults. And there have been a lot of books that have been written about cult behavior. A good book on New Age cults, if in case you want to read about it, is Walter Martin's The New Age Cult. The concise, readable overview of the world's leading authority on cults. This was put out by Bethany Publishers, Minneapolis, Minnesota. ISBN is 1-55661-0771. This is the first edition. Walter Martin, PhD, he's written, I think there's 3 versions of this, but this is the first edition. This is from 1989. He wrote this in study with the Christian Research Institute, but this is a good book on cults. I'm in the cult of personality. Cult of personality. Meep, meep. Good morning. Good morning. Churches are kind of cultish. I think everything is kind of cultish, depending on how you look at it. Coag Life. Is it true that Jim Bob claimed to be a prophet? I don't know if Jim Bob claimed to be a prophet. Don't know about that. That'd be kind of outside of the scope of what Jim Bob is really all about. There's some things that really should alarm a lot of people about Jim Bob. I mean, first off, covering up the abuse that your son committed for well over 15 years, 19 years in total. Having selective memory on what you can remember, what your son did and what he didn't do. That alone is very questionable about his background. He deserved the maximum sentence for such a vile crime against children. Rihanna, you're absolutely right. I believe, and personally, I don't think that prison's ever going to help. When it comes to people who commit crimes against children like this, they can't be cured. There is no cure for pedophilia and child molestation. The only thing that in all these books here on psychology, the psychologists all are in agreement. The only thing you can ever do with somebody who's been convicted of a crime against children like that, either possession, watching, child pornography, child molestation, sexual abuse of a child, the only thing that you can ever do is try to discourage them from ever doing it again. Understanding that the person, even if they're just watching a video, they're victimizing that child, and by consuming the actual material. But it's one of those things where we want to think that everything can be fixed, but there are some things in this world that we just can't fix. We don't know, even after all these years and all these drugs and all this education, therapy and everything. You can't cure things like that. It's like trying to cure a serial killer. Once a serial killer's been caught, you can't cure them from ever not having the urge to want to kill again. I mean, Ed Kemper, even as mild mannered of an individual he is, and who will freely tell everybody, if he was released again, he would kill again. I mean, the gentle giant of Ed Kemper knows that if he was ever put back into society again and he was given the option, to kill or not kill, he would definitely kill again. He can't stop that, and he knows that impulse is inside of him. He doesn't know how to control it. He doesn't know how to get rid of it. Just like those who are, child predators, like Josh Duggar. It's inside of them, and they just don't know how to stop it. And there isn't, and we've never found a way to actually stop it. We've tried all kinds of therapies, castrations, and drugs, and everything else, and nothing has worked to alleviate a person and say, look, this person has now been, cured or whatever of their crime. A lot of faith-based religions, claim that they can, and that's what they claimed, in Josh Duggar's situation too, was instead of him being prosecuted for to the full extent of the law for what he did, is they sent him off to, a family friend to go through severe church-based faith, prayer and Bible study, and that was supposed to cure him. It didn't. Some are just bad apples. Yes, Kemper will talk to anybody. And as scary as Ed Kemper may have been earlier on in his life, and I'm sure the gentle giant was not what how people saw him, but he definitely he had an aura about him, and a lot of Ed's problems are not really his design. He didn't become the monster he is. His mother and grandmother made him the person he is. Iran hangs predators from canes, especially new neckties. Recidivism is not possible. There are a lot of places that have public executions and trials, of I lost the thought that I was going to say there. I blanked out. When it comes to like Iran and places like that, cement shoes, there are a lot of countries out there that hold public executions and torture of an individual. As barbaric as it may be, to some people may see it as barbaric. I mean, yeah, sure, definitely no recidivism rate, and far fewer people will do, the same kinds of crimes. It does stop crime, hey, I don't want to end up there. But at the same time, you know, there are people who, commit these crimes and they're just not caught and prosecuted. Serial sex offender, a murderer who served his time sentence. Trial was decided if he can release into society. He said, no way. My hubby was called to a jury trial for a sex offender, a murderer who served his full sentence. That would have been interesting. The trial to sit on. Every year, I get jury duty every year, and it has never failed. I get the notice in the mail. I know they're going to call me, and I end up having to go. It's never, oh, now thank you for calling in anyways. It's always, yep, your group was picked. Always. I've never gotten to serve on a jury like that, though. The most exciting jury that I ever got to sit on was a medical malpractice. And you could tell the jury, I was not the 1 to 12, I was the alternate. But you could tell from the get-go, right out the door, the lady who was suing the doctor for medical malpractice was doing it for other reasons other than what she had claimed. We never did find out, because they ended up settling just before they wrapped up the case. They ended up settling out of court with his insurance company. but you could tell that it was either he rebuffed her advances, or maybe he did something wrong, medical wise, but we never were able to hear the entire case itself of what he supposedly did, medical wise. But I'm still not sure if I can ever mention the name of the doctor, but that was the most interesting case that I've ever sat in on a jury. And of course, we never got to actually deliberate because they settled the entire thing. So the day that they actually settled out of court, they sent us back to the jury room and they bought us pizza. The court did. They brought in like a bunch of Domino's pizzas and said, "Here you go. Well, you guys were going to deliberate today, and we've already bought you lunch, so you might as well eat it." So we sat down, cracked open a Pepsi, and drank it and ate pizza. Some people said, "Nah, I don't want the pizza," and went home anyways. But they bought us a bunch of pizza. That was supposed to be our lunch, but they settled it just before. I was let go from jury duty because I said I would have prejudice against a drunk driver. I can understand that. Catherine arrest of Josh Duggar. Thoughts on Jan Duggar's arrest? I know Jana Duggar was arrested. Me, you never get called for jury duty. I can guarantee I'm going to get called every single March. It's like clockwork. I get the notice on, either like the first or the first week of March, and inevitably I get the thing, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great. Another day of jury duty. Earn my $6. That's what you here where I am. That's what you get per day is $6 for jury duty. Yay!" But hubby said during the Lord Dyer and questioning that he doesn't think this person deserves even life. Of course, they excused him. The man even killed random children. She was arrested for child endangerment. Didn't know that. I found jury duty fascinating. Yeah, well, it's a lot different than in England. That's for sure. Rihanna, I live in the UK, and there is a difference on how it's done. So all right. So that's three people who are in the UK. We have RuPaul, we have Rihanna. Who else was there that was in the UK? I got called for jury duty. They dismissed me because I had three toddlers and an infant. I was bummed. I really, really needed the break. Sketty Nona. Yeah, I can understand that. I'm surprised. Every year that I've gone, I have heard some of the most bizarre reasons for people not wanting to do jury duty. Most you think that, oh, I have to work, I have a planned vacation that I'm going on that's non-refundable. You know, People have all different kinds of reasons why they can't sit on a jury or do jury duty. But I've heard some of the most unique ones overall. I know the defendant, I know the plaintiff. Those are kind of oh, he consultated on a case. If I'm using the example of the doctor that was sued, but yeah, it's over and over again. Yeah, you hear the most bizarre reasons, and people sit around and like after like we fill out the questionnaire, you'll hear people sit around. You just sit there quietly. You can hear people talking about all the different reasons why they want to get out of jury duty. I don't want to be here. I can make more money, at home, doing nothing. I don't want to be here. I'm losing money by taking the day off work. But then, and then when it comes to, the justice system, people are like, well, how the hell did that jury find that person not guilty? They don't want to be on a jury, but they don't want a jury to find in a different direction than they believe that the evidence is. It's amazing. I was on jury duty for a theft It was easy guilt because his friend testified against him. Well, it seems to be, being a true crime YouTuber would be a um, great excuse for you to get excused. I mean, I've never used it. Then again, I never report on cases that are local to where I am. Um, I don't know why. Like, just it wasn't like a predetermined outcome. I wasn't going to cover those cases, but just happens to be that I've never had a reason to excuse myself from a jury duty. No vacation coming up that I can't get refunded for. I mean, my boss is he's kind of a jerk, but that again, that's me. So, oh yeah, I have the vacation time. So, and I can take jury duty. It's just one of those things where it's like, either I'm either on a jury, or they exclude me because of the questionnaire beforehand of how I answered it. I'd never get picked for jury duty because of law enforcement employment, not even civil trials. Maybe now that you're retired, you might. All depends on what kind of jury they're looking for, Kayla. My job still pays me for the work day. Meet me. That's cool. Can't wait to get back. My American accent is on point. LOL. It's cold here in Texas. I didn't know got to change clothes and go to a softball game. God bless y'all. We watch in replay. You have a wonderful day, Stacy, and thank you again for stopping in this morning. I'm still here. There's nothing wrong with the feed. I'm still here. That's well, we've warmed up a whole degree since I looked at it earlier. It's now 52 degrees here, but the winds are sustained now at 22. Small fries, good morning. Windy as all heck here today. Smoke, that's smoke. LOL. Yeah, and we're it's a 52 here now, and winds are sustained at 22 miles an hour, sustained winds. We've had gusts as high as 34. That was an hour ago. We had the gust at 34. Looks like it's going to be a windy day. Don't think I'll be doing any gardening today. Of course, I wasn't going to do any gardening anyways, but I'm still not going to do it today because of the winds. Will, did you make breakfast? Nope. Oh, my wife already messaged me. She's almost done, so I'm going to have to wrap this stream up soon, Francie. My wife is making breakfast this morning, along with well, it's her and my sister are making it. I was at about 35 miles an hour. Wow. Does make good breakfast. Meat. Skins, cola. Welcome. Well, I know a lot about the Josh Duggar case. I didn't know that somebody else had been arrested. I hadn't checked on that. I wish I lived in the U.S. Crap here. LOL. Sorry, I can't help much beyond that. Law enforcement was a police officer and non-sworn officer for 37 years. Gayla, is that the same? A non-sworn officer, is that the same as a non-commissioned officer? I always wondered that. I was going to ask my friend about that the other day, and I just never got around to it. I totally, skipped my mind. The oldest sister for child endangerment. Okay. Well, I wasn't. Somebody else had mentioned it. Skins cola on the stream this morning, but I didn't know anything about that. Mostly open due to farming. I'm cold, but that happens with rheumatoid arthritis. I'm sorry. I have rheumatoid arthritis in my obviously in my knees, but I'm gonna try this the stuff that Inner Peas sent me. She sent it's a whole body supposed to be good for your immune system, and it's got turmeric in it and everything else. It's supposed to also help with rheumatoid arthritis and with joint pain. So I'm going to try it later on today, and I'll tell everybody how it works on the stream tomorrow on tomorrow night's music trivia. And that's at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Forgot to turn the damn camera back on again. Sorry. Well, fresh pineapple is good for healing. Do you like it? Oh, I love pineapple. Hard to find here when it's fresh, though. You can get it in can. Every once in a while, our local supermarkets stock that and pineapple and mangoes, but very seldom. Very seldom. You can get it a lot in can or frozen. I hope they don't put that guy in state senate, Jim Bob, Josh Duggar's dad, Jim Bob Duggar. He's running for the vacant spot there for the United States Senate, but he's very far behind. And that was before the arrest of Josh Duggar. He wasn't doing so well. It doesn't look like he's going to win the vacant Senate seat. I think non-commissioned means the inspector, but I'm not sure. I've never heard of that term being used in the department that I work for. Okay, well, yeah, I was going to ask my friend about it. It came up on a stream that I was watching. It had Mike the cop. He has a YouTube channel, and he was talking about a non-commissioned officers. And I was like, what is a non-commissioned officer? Now fast forward about 3 or 4 days later, I was going to ask my friend, who is a local police officer. He's been on the force there now for 24 years, I think. This is 2001. No, this would be his 22nd year. 22nd year on the police department. But I was going to ask him, but I forgot. And I was kind of hoping you knew. I'll ask him later on if he knows what it is, because it's the same type of department. NCO, non-commissioned officer. Yeah, I know what it is in the skin cola. I know what it is in the military, but what is it in the police officer? In police rank, is a non-commissioned officer? Is that the same as a beat cop? And where do they play in the actual spectrum of is there difference? Are there non-commissioned officers, regular officers, and then detectives? Is it like 3 that way, or is it just non-commissioned officers and detectives? That's more my question of what a non-commissioned officer is. No arrest powers. Non-commissioned police officers means a police officer under the rank of inspector. IRAGE. Well, thank you. I'll look it up and see if that's the actual answer. Compared to the case that Mike the cop was talking about. You guys want to check out a good YouTube channel. You know, I follow Mike the Cop, Officer 401, and Donut Operator. Donut Operator is no longer an officer. He gave up being a peace officer um, a couple of years ago now. I think you know he slowly backed his way out of it. Mike the Cop is not even. I don't even think he's a. I think he's still reserve, but they all three of them have their own YouTube channels. Um, Donut Operator does more breakdowns of shootings. Officer 401, he's a detective now. I think he has his gold shield. And Mike the Cop, you know, I don't even think he's in law enforcement at all. If he is, he's only a reserve officer. But his sister is still an officer somewhere in North Carolina, and I think um, I think Donut Operator has family as well as are still in law enforcement. I like cornflakes. I don't know what that is. Is that like cornflakes? Individual police and sheriff departments have different titles. No arrest powers means non-sworn officer. Love your work, especially the Chris Watts content and the prison meals videos. Well, thank you, Skin Cola. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I love hearing that from people who who enjoy the content that I put out because I definitely hear from everybody who doesn't like it. That is true. I definitely hear from the people who don't like me or my content. Let's see here. I gotta wrap this stream up this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be it for today. Again, give us a thumbs up if you like the content. If you didn't like it, click the thumbs down. But make sure you hit it twice to really let YouTube know that you really didn't like it. And I hope that everybody has a safe and happy weekend. And don't forget, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we have music trivia tomorrow night. And I hope to see everybody there. That's here on YouTube. If you're a subscriber, you should get notified of what time, when I'm going to be live. And that's at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, depending upon where you are in the world, adjust accordingly. But again, I hope everyone has a great week, and thank you for stopping in and taking part of this morning's chat and news and questions. Right card, love the content. Thank you, Right card. All right, everyone, have a great day today.